no matter how much of the world you get, it is still not enough. This is the greed that forces us to keep chasing the world endlessly throughout our life without any satiation. However, the Vedas tell us that look, behind these is another affliction which is even more serious. What is that? Desire. One professor related a hilarious joke to his class that had all the students rolling in laughter. But 5 minutes later, he repeated the same joke. This time, a few of them giggled along. Another 5 minutes went by and he yet again repeated the joke. Now they smiled politely. The fourth time when he said the same joke, one frank and forthright student lifted his hand and said, "Sir, why are you repeating the same joke again and again?" He said, "It's no longer funny, right? But then you people do the same thing. You repeat the unhappy thoughts, the thoughts of distress in your mind over and over. Isn't that so unfortunate? The afflictions caused by our mind. In the Vedas, they are referred to as manas roga. In this mind management challenge, I wish to discuss with you this Vedic psychology, which will help us understand why anger, greed, etc. arise and what is the cure for them. The Vedas explain that the first two afflictions are anger and greed. One father was taking his son for a car ride. On the way, the tire got punctured. He had parked the car and he was in the process of changing the wheel when the little kid had gotten down on the other side, lifted a stone and was scratching the car. Now this new luxury sedan, the father, having changed the wheel, went around and saw that it had been badly scratched by his son. He was so furious, he took the spanner and started hitting his child on the knuckles. In his rage, he beat him so badly that the knuckles broke. And then the father realized he had to take the child to the hospital. When the doctor had a look at the mass of bone and flesh and muscle, he declared, "We will need to cut 3 fingers or they will be affected by gangrene." After the surgery was performed and the child came back to consciousness and the bandage was opened, he looked at it and looked at his father and said, "Dad, when will my fingers grow back?" The father was heartbroken at the damage he had caused because of his fury. Crestfallen, he went back home and he glanced upon where his son had scratched the car. He discovered his son had been writing, "Dad, I love you." The father became even more dejected at his lack of control over anger. So anger is a mental affliction. Why does it arise? We will understand after we discuss the second affliction, which is greed. One sadhu came to an emperor's court. The emperor, realizing he was a great sage, requested for the opportunity to serve and said, Maharaj, what can I offer to you? The sadhu said, I need nothing. I have this vessel. Just fill it up with some precious stones from your treasury. The king instructed his servants to fill up that little sadhu's bowl. They kept on putting in it jewels, gold, diamonds. No matter how much they put, it was just not filling up. The whole treasury got empty. Finally, the king admitted defeat and he said, Maharaj, what is this? No matter how much we put, it still doesn't fill up. The sadhu said, this is the human heart. No matter how much it gets, it still remains empty. The Srimad Bhagavatam says, no matter how much of the world you get, it is still not enough. This is the greed that forces us to keep chasing the world endlessly throughout our life without any satiation. Now we have identified greed and anger, lobh and krodh. However, the Vedas tell us that look, behind both of these is another affliction which is even more serious. What is that? Desire. Desire? Yes. I desire to see. I desire to touch, to taste, to smell. But desires are so innocuous. In anger, we destroy things. In greed, we waste our life. And what is the big deal? We just desire a rasgulla? No. The Vedas inform us that desire is the cause of anger and greed. It is the mother, the Janani, and its children are greed and rage. Look, why does anger arise? Let's say you make a desire and its fulfillment is obstructed. That is what leads to anger. One husband decided to indulge his senses. He went to the restaurant and purchased 5 kgs of chocolate chip ice cream. He put it in the fridge and decided he would take a walk out in the hot sun to build up an appetite so he would relish the ice cream to the hilt. However, when he came back and opened the fridge, he found there was no ice cream. He asked his wife, I had put the ice cream bowl, where has it gone? The wife said, my dear husband, don't you remember the doctor's instructions? Your cholesterol is high, you're not supposed to take ice creams. I disposed it in the garbage. What? You disposed the ice cream? Now he is furious. What is the cause of this anger? He had created a desire for pleasure from ice cream, which was obstructed, and that led to the outburst of anger. So what is the cause of anger? The obstruction of desire. Now, consider the second case. Let us say he returned and the ice cream was still in the fridge. So he took it out, took a tablespoon, ate 1 spoonful. Did you enjoy? I loved it. So I want another spoon. Now I loved it, but a little less. Now I want another spoon. Okay, you've had 10 spoons of ice cream. Are you satiated? Today I am satiated, but tomorrow I want more ice cream. Jo pratilabha lobha adhikai. Pay deep attention to the scriptural truth. It is saying when desire is fulfilled, it comes back later with redoubled intensity. That means if you think, I don't have any desire except this one thing, if I get it, all will be well, you are fooling yourself. The moment you fulfill that one desire, you are causing a chain reaction. The Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran states that endeavoring to quench desires by fulfilling them, by giving them the objects they seek, is like hoping to quench a fire by pouring ghee on it. For a moment, it will seem to have got doused, but then it will come back with redoubled intensity. That is why if one person gets all the pleasurable objects of the world, don't think that person will become desire-free. Girir mahan girir abdhir mahan abdhir nabho mahat nabhasopi param brahma tatopyasha duratyaya. A mountain is big. The ocean is bigger than the mountain. The cosmos is bigger than the ocean. But desire is bigger than the cosmos, because the whole world put together cannot quench the disease of desire. Now, if we desire anything, it can have one of two consequences. Either it will be fulfilled or it will be unfulfilled. Unfulfillment, it will lead to greed, unsatiable craving. On unfulfillment, it will cause anger. And the moment anger comes, Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhranshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. The Bhagavad Gita's famous declaration, from anger comes delusion, from delusion comes loss of memory, and that leads to destruction of the intellect. And when the intellect is affected, the soul suffers a downfall. All these subsequent mental afflictions are all triggered off by anger and greed, which in turn are caused by desire. If we don't desire, there is no scope for anger. And the question of greed doesn't arise at all. We have now reached the root, desire. But what is the root of this root? What is the cause of desire? This is what we are going to discuss as we progress in this mind management challenge.